Dark clouds hanging over my mind, eyes scanning for a safe space to find. Sweating at night like I'm breaking, my heart feels like it's gone left taken. Why does every little action feel like spinning in the mud to gain traction? Reach out, break the chains, shout loud, let out restless nights, I'm wide awake. Demons inside have found their stake. Silence louder than a scream. Is this real or praying it's a dream? You know this place, the emptiness, the cold. I've walked here before, so offering my hand to hold. Reach out, break the chains, shout loud, let out through the fog we'll find the light. In a hug the burden's light. Step by step we'll take our stand. Together we will understand. Hypervigilance I can't unwind. Looking for peace that's hard to find. Anxiety gnaws at every turn, but there's always a lesson we can learn. There's strength in vulnerability to discover. Pay it forward, the kindness to one another. Reach out, break the chains, shout loud, let out the pain. Find a hand in the dark, ignite your inner spark. Peace and keep it luminous, dial 988, you are worthy. Nick's never in control. LinkedIn's Mad Hatter, spinning up laughter and beats to move your feet. Building and boosting the roof of a Saturday night. Nick's never in control. LinkedIn's Mad Hatter, spinning up laughter and beats to move your feet. Take control, feel the rhythm in your soul. Building and boosting the roof of a Saturday night. Never clutch of loneliness, the emptiness untold. Then when least expected, they walk into your life. Pillars of strength, love, and fortitude, reigniting one's strife. We will always pick up where we left off, humble and kind minds, with hearts so soft. The ones who know my heart and stand strong with me. Blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family. We've all risen up from the places from where some may not walk. From somewhere deep within, we find within the bravery to talk. We're all vulnerable and uncut, rising to the occasion, embracing us, even though we're all a little nuts. We will always pick up where we left off, humble and kind minds, with hearts so soft. The ones who know my heart and stand strong with me. Blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family. We've all stood on the dark side of the tracks, a space of non-judgment. There ain't no looking back. Life is a roller coaster that we have to hold on tight. Bless all of you in my world, helping me continue the fight. We will always pick up where we left off, humble and kind minds, with hearts so soft. The ones who know my heart and stand strong with me. Blood makes you related, but
Let me welcome the
love the
legends.
video.
Miss Aaron's here. Miss Aaron, the Showman Live genius. Glad you're here.
He does his Soul Man Live, which I'm going to be on next week. If you've ever been on stage, it's just nice. So thank you, Aaron.
Aaron and I, when I say 50-50, this is a 50-50. This is what a 50-50 looks like. A real 50-50. Okay? There are days when I'm pestering him to death, and Aaron's just like, okay, we got this. You need this? No problem. Just breathe. And there are days when my bro would be like, sis, you got a couple minutes? That's just the way we roll. It doesn't matter what time of the day or night it is. It doesn't matter what the topic is. We've been really blessed to have this incredible friendship. There is nothing we don't talk to each other about.
So we're going to kick off this show with something very special. I counted them up, and I've done 75 with different co-hosts of Mind Over Matter Mondays every week. And with that, I received this beautiful surprise from a very close friend. Allow me to introduce you to the brand new introduction to Mind Over Matter Mondays. That was Aaron Gibson's. He's the Visioneer. And I will tell you that when I first met Aaron, there was something, he actually saw right through all the surface stuff with me, right into my soul.
In this time in need of change, a rider from the east charging across those open plains, and one from the west where mountain peaks touch the sky. Their mission the same, raise others up so they too can fly. Cover the wide open range. Guardians who stand unshaken and vigilant. Drive the charge to which others aspire. More light, more fire. Oh yeah. More light, more fire. More light, more fire. Dawn of the fire. raise that roof, roof. Feel the beats, surge in the streets, crank it up loud, dance those feet. Soul man kicking the jams to hype the crowd, commitment to share and joy, a solemn vow. Getting jiggy with it, slaying that floor, bust out that groovy wheeze, ready for more. Cue it up, soul man, electrify the air. Here comes the boom, shaking our derriere. Feed that hype, now bring the noise. Charge the crowd, Friday joy. Giving that funk to move that trunk, waving from your chair like you just don't care. The crowd hands up, fueling that hype. Blow the roof off the studio, tonight's that night. Cue it up, soul man, electrify the air. Here comes the boom, shaking our derriere. Feed that hype, now bring the noise. Charge the crowd, Friday joy. You are owed this moment for working those hours exclusively. Breaking down the walls, a roaring phoenix to be set free. All of the rocking crowd waving in unison, hyped out of our minds. Let Friday begin. Whoop, whoop. Coming up, soul man, electrify the air. Here comes the boom, shaking our derriere. Feed that hype, now bring the noise. Charge the crowd, Friday joy. You are owed this moment for working those hours exclusively. Breaking down the walls, a roaring phoenix to be set free. All of the rocking crowd waving in unison, hyped out of our minds. Let Friday begin. Whoop, whoop. Cue it up, soul man, electrify the air. Here comes the boom, shaking our derriere. Feed that hype, now bring the noise. Charge the crowd, Friday joy. Cue it up, soul man. Cue it up, soul man. Cue it up, soul man. Cue it up, Friday joy. Cue it up, Friday joy. Cue it up, soul man. Cue it up, Friday joy. To the one. Race for liftoff. The rafters are coming undone. Exercising the system with different perspective, a different view, delivering that universal joy that's long overdue. Pause if you hear me. Psych up the mode. This is Aaron Gibson, Soul Man, live fight. Gladiator, whole cart ready to explode. Q-box with speakers blasting, pumpkin and Lexi pumping in the air. That pounding in your chest, emitting from within. Cue the trumpets in your solar flare. Momentum growing like a titan's wrath. Crowd building it up now. It's time to broadcast. Your foot are whacking, flares stay tapping, moon sliding on that floor. Like Michael Bublé crooning, with records scratching, your body screams it wants more. We're all hyped up, it's Friday night, and the band's ready to go. Souls are shaking with the earthquake, and let's get on with the show. As if you hear me, psych up the mode. This is Aaron Gibson, Soul Man, live by Gladiator, Hulk heart ready to explode. Groovy jukebox with speakers blasting, funky Lassie bumping in the air. That pounding in your chest, emitting from within. Cue the trumpets in your solar flare. Here comes the intro with the soul style beat. The wait is all over now, igniting the phoenix is what we see. As if you hear me, psych up the mode. This is Aaron Gibson, Soul Man, live by Gladiator, Hulk heart ready to explode. Groovy jukebox with speakers blasting, funky Lassie bumping in the air. That pounding in your chest, emitting from within. Cue the trumpets in your solar flare.
Well, good evening and hello, everyone out there. Happy Friday night. Oh, yeah, I've already kind of given away the first part of this. And of course, it is an exciting night here. I've got a full studio. It's not very often I'm gifted with a full studio, but I have some amazing souls to share with you this evening. Of course, how do we kick off the third edition of the Legacy Chronicles? And literally every year, my baby sister and I have been able to somehow coordinate to get the legacy authors on all at the same time every year. And of course, that's kind of where we begin this little journey that we're going on tonight. Hello, I am Aaron Gibson. Welcome to Soul Man Live. And of course, this evening we are celebrating some co-authors coming together, soon to be published. And of course, we're going to hear more from my baby sister soon. And of course, no stranger to you all. How are we going to kick off this evening? Well, you know what? I thought that I would take a little bit of a flashback and kind of throw a wild curveball at my sister for a change, because technically speaking, she has this fantastic show that she has called Person Behind the Pen that she does every Tuesday. And I finally came on this past Tuesday, and just an amazing heartfelt evening of conversation. And it threw me back to the first time that I actually wrote with her. Now, I've already talked about a note to my family. I am your legacy. Tonight, what I'd like to do is I'm going to start off by reading just a couple paragraphs from the beginning of my chapter from A Message to My Family, I Am Your Legacy, which I really technically, she kept on telling me to book with her. I didn't do it. I wanted to make sure that everybody else got on. And that's just the way that I roll. She knows me by now, and I can finally appease her before she gets on screen here. All right, to actually read the first couple paragraphs, or the first few paragraphs of the beginning of my chapter from the 2024 edition of the Legacy Chronicles, and then the last few paragraphs. And that's how we're going to kick things off tonight, because each one of our special guests, whether they be old or new, it is an opportunity and is such an exhilarating feeling to become an author, to speak to the masses and literally leave your legacy behind for somebody else to read years later. This book is, of course, both books, and of course, she knows I'm going to do this because I love her so much. Both books are available on Amazon. All right, but we're going to get to the meat and potatoes because we've got a lot of special guests to get through this evening. And so, without further delay or ado, the chapter titled The Awakening of the Phoenix. With what air I had left, I gasped out to the paramedics. Cut the shirt, as I collapsed on the stretcher in the ambulance. My world blacked out like an old tube television. All I could see was a small dot of light surrounded by darkness, Everything felt very quiet, still, and peaceful as I tried to focus on the only light source that I could see. This didn't make any sense. I was just lying on the street a moment ago, clasping my ribs, and my red life essence now external from where it should be. A moment later, I began to faintly hear the whisper of voices, one male and one female. Wait, was that my wife's voice? A feeling of guilt washed over me. I promised I would be home to her and my son by 11 p.m. Her sound calmed the confusion, but why couldn't I open my eyes? Why couldn't I respond to her? Why can't I feel my body? I fought with every ounce of my being to open my eyes as I listened to the sounds around me. This isn't good. I could hear the gasps of people as they walked near me. What's his status? Another voice replied, not good. He's booked for a head scan and x-ray. He's going to trauma. And then the voices walked away. For the first time in a very long time, I felt the fear like a child and just as helpless. Now we will skip forward to the last few paragraphs here. Oh, did I go too far? From being homeless and living out of my car, mentally broken from stress, consecutive days of insomnia, struggling to make ends meet, nauseating anxiety, and the emptiness of depression becoming a #1 international best-selling author. Host of a prospering, supportive, nonprofit mental health talk show that has earned the compliments of being one of LinkedIn's most inspirational and unique live shows. Living my dream as a technical trainer, teaching across Western Canada, executive producer for 3 different live shows, over 7 million views on TikTok, with mental health breaks, recognized awards for contributions and support to the community. My baby sister. Thank you. What some may not see about my baby sister is that in a form of what she does is almost a version of therapy. Taking us back, reliving moments that were very hard for us to share with others so that they can prosper, learn a little bit from somebody else's journey, and move forward. So, without further delay or ado, my fantastic, guiding, brilliant writers, publisher, Nicole and Guy Galindo, please welcome her to the stage.
I thought I was going to come on and be all like, yay! And I still am, but you definitely caught me by surprise. So I didn't think for a moment I would have to bring tissues with me. These times are a celebration of life, celebration of things we've endured. And, we pass so much more than our lessons on when we pen our legacy. We leave a piece of us that even a family member, somebody very close to you, may not have ever seen while you walked years. And I listened to your story, the short piece you just read, and I think that one day your now ex, your son, will pick this up and read it. And though she may have walked in her shoes and seen the situation from her eyes, she would not from yours. And the thing is, to me, that no matter how many times you hear a story, that's why we watch movies we love so much, a dozen times. Like my husband, he's famous for that. But every time you walk away with something just a little bit different. And I do not want that art to be lost in storytelling. So I've said it before and I will say it again, bro. To the by now 100 people that have come and written with me over these last 2 years. December 10th, I believe, is exactly 2 years since the first legacy was published in 2023. So you give a gift to me, you leave a gift for your loved ones, but perhaps the biggest gift you give is to yourself. When we are at that time in our lives, should we be graced with being able to not suffer, but be able to actually have a moment to reflect before we close our eyes for the last time? How much can we really absorb and express? All those expressions will be left forever. And that is the crux behind all of this. So thank you. And thank you for having us on and for throwing our pre-launch party this year. It is with great appreciation. Your little sister is definitely looking forward to the end of the year and some rest.
Yes, definitely, and I will be hounding you about that a little bit later in the production studio. But we're gonna give you grace tonight because you are my special guest, and you are also my publisher. And part of this journey, which I have really now 3 books in with you, one thing that never escapes the kind of magic that comes with writing with you is seeing the new authors. Seeing these new authors come on for the first time and experience something on their bucket list that may not have even been on their bucket list before.
Exactly.
And then watching them, and I know because one of these co-authors is now a close friend. We'll get to that a little bit later. That she got her opportunity to speak her story, and this is something like these stories coming from these amazing souls. They touched everybody that spoke during the Zooms, and thank you for your grace during the Zooms. You know how crazy I am during those. And I see the grins in the background, so thank you. I like to keep things lively, and of course I'm super excited to be always working with you, Nicole. And of course we've got actually, just to let you know, because normally you can see in the production, strangely enough, for those that aren't aware, Nicole used to be one of my producers, but we've got 4 authors currently sitting in the background right now. And if any one of them right now, what we're going to do, just to be conscientious of them, and thank you everybody in the comments, like there is so many rolling by, and I love you, William. I love you, Bill. You're a cool man, and I appreciate your comments, man. They've struck a chord, and I appreciate you, and we're going to be having some fun on Sunday. However, tonight is about our co-authors. And so if any of my co-authors in the green room right now, if you have a time constraint, please wave your hand. Are you all free to bring you on one at a time to speak? Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to go in order on how they actually showed up into my green room. So first one up, got to actually speak with her or listen to a portion of her story on Person Behind the Pen. # gotta plug your show all the time. Both shows. Please check out Nick Never in Control, the live show. All right, but she was first up on stage or in the green room, and I caught her there, and so we're going to bring her up on stage. You know her, and first thing what we're going to do is make things easy for you tonight, sis. Is I want to first kind of ask my soul man questions, and then we're going to ask you a question on what your experience was working with this individual and how the story that they wrote touched you. So, without further delay, with my magic pen, please welcome to the stage, Lisa Joyce. Surprise, you're coming up on stage.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
How you doing this evening?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. I've never done this, so take me through it.
Well, the great news is you just simply are, you just be yourself around here. I've got a very nice, beautiful space that I've gathered, and everyone supports being honest, genuine, and vulnerable around here, to the degree that, so if you want to go into something deep when you're talking this evening, we can go deep. It's a safe space. So, for you, my friend, I found that Tuesday's experience was a great kind of dive into your world. And because we had an opportunity to all meet one another doing on Zoom, please introduce yourself and tell everybody where you're coming from first.
Sure. My name is Lisa Joyce, obviously. I am in Katona, New York, so about an hour outside of Manhattan. I'm a former corporate, semi-returned to corporate, feeling a very strong calling to help people heal. And so this opportunity to contribute was incredibly cathartic. And I think what surprised me the most about it was what I started with in my mind and where I ended up, sort of finishing, were completely different places. It's a journey, and it's been a journey I've been on for a few years now, but getting it on paper, I realized there was something I needed to say. So that's
awesome. So what was that? So when you're thinking, and because again, we think about our lives, and Nicole brought this up on her show as well. We think about our lives. We have such a lot. For me, I'm 49 years old. I've got 49 years to pick from. What was that deciding factor for you to say, like, when you were going through, like, where you wanted to come from? What was that deciding, like, yeah, no, this is what really needs to go on paper. This is the story that I want to leave as my mark, kind of idea.
So it's not. That's a really hard question for me to answer. So I'm gonna just, if I may, share just a little bit. I left corporate a few years ago, and I wanted to go and help people because I had built this career in corporate America that I discovered was not truly aligned with who I am. And that came to me around 10 years ago now, when my daughter went through a very, very challenging mental health crisis in sort of 8th grade, 9th grade, and throughout high school into her college years. And so I built this professional career and I built it based on solving people's problems. That's what I did. I was a chief of staff for high net worth people, and they gave me their crap and I fixed it. And that ran the gamut from, the pool is broken to buy me an airplane, and like anything in between. And like, so I share that to say, like, the broad spectrum of life I managed for these people. And so you're constantly fixing problems. And I care about people. I want to help them. So I always came from a service mindset with it. So I gave it everything. At the same time, being incredibly intimidated by being in these rooms with, Ivy League educated, master's, PhD kind of caliber, genius type people, I went to FIT. I thought I wanted to get into fashion. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I got lucky in opportunities, and I got lucky in getting opportunities, But what I never understood until a few years ago was that I earned the right to be in these rooms because they saw my ability. But I didn't get it. I was intimidated by the whole thing, right? And so I fixed problems. I became very good at it, but I never really stepped into me. I was always doing it for others. And so when my daughter sort of, depression, anxiety, suicide attempts, like hospitalizations, really, really self-harm, like really, really bad, hard stuff. I was like, okay, we have a problem. We have to fix it. Mom, I'm not a problem to be fixed. Well, I know you're not a problem. There's a problem. But my language, it wasn't resonating with her, right? And so it was like, oh shit, excuse me. It was like that look in the
You're fine.
mirror where I had to go, oh, I'm the problem. I'm the problem, right? Like I'm trying to fix you, even though I'm not trying to fix you. And so I had to do a whole lot of self-reflection. And I'm still on that journey. Like I started that 5 years ago, maybe, probably more, to be honest with you, probably 10 years ago. But I was in crisis with her. I had to do this job to pay the bills, which was a very high pressure, stressful job. And when things finally settled a bit and I was really able to look, I was like, I've got a lot of work to do on me. So I've been doing that. And then when it came time to write this book, this chapter, I thought I wanted to write about her impact on me. And as I'm writing it, I'm going deeper and deeper. I mean, I don't know. I sent Nicole I sent her the 11,000 word version, but I had like 100,000 word version. Like I had just pages and pages. And so when I was like, wait a minute, you have to get this to 3,500 words. I started to read through everything and I'm like, no, there's a thread all the way back to my childhood. And I created this life out of an expectation of how I thought I had to behave and how I thought others wanted me to be. And that created this, endless cycle of perfectionism and controlling and all of these things. And so that's what my chapter became about, was like recognizing my behaviors that were not the best, that were not, that created problems in my relationships with my family and my friend and all these things, and like just owning it. And so there was a thread all the way, and I'm not done. Like there's miles ahead of me to go, right? But it's acknowledging in the different stages of my life, um, the varying degrees of of growth and learning and evolving. And so I didn't pick a stage of life. I didn't pick a particular story. I really picked my growth as a human and how I've had to really look in the mirror and do some self-work.
That's
Does
beautiful.
that answer your question?
Yeah, no, you've done beautiful. Like, thank you for being vulnerable with me. And just so you know, Lisa, this is again, this your family now. We've all written together. You've endured me during the Zooms, so like you can drop a shit bomb, and an F bomb when the occasion rises around here without any sort of worry. So and all of our other guests in the background, just so you know, that haven't been here before. Again, there's a good few of them. And now one's back on screen because I was going to bring her up, but she's on screen now. But again, for those of you that are in the back, you are more than happy to cuss a little bit around here. This is a late night mental health talk show, so safe space, as I promised. Thank you for sharing that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring Nick into this. Now, Nick, what was the experience when it came to you and Lisa working together? What kind of things hit you?
Oh gosh. I got to meet Lisa earlier this year briefly. Back in March at a fundraiser held by Chase and Forhan HR4U, Cooking Up Change. And it can be hard sometimes when you walk into a room full of people you do not know. I think most people know that I'm fairly brave, but I have a brave face. That doesn't mean I'm not quaking on the inside. Um, I think she was immediately one of the people that I gravitated toward and felt comfortable within her presence within seconds. So I knew when I approached her about this opportunity, if she said yes, it would give us an opportunity to get to know each other better. But I already was feeling the level of comfort at the thought of going into work with her. So, needless to say, you are very well written. Um, you know, I do edit, but there really wasn't much of that going on. Um, and it's something I see. And I get to read all these stories, right? And there is always something that I take away from all of them. And I was reading a story and I thought to myself, wow, wow, wow. You know, my son is now 28. Um, he said I can't post a picture of him on social media anymore. He didn't say I can't talk about him. So if you see this, too bad. So, you know, I I felt a connection to this thread of what I was reading in his story. And it made me see my situation in a light I had never considered. Because I hit a brick wall for a few years well with my young man. Um, and it made me question myself. Um, was I, in fact, um, controlling? Mind you, my show is Nick Never Control, right? But I wasn't always that way. I think that there's a part of me that always wants everything to go right, whatever right is, and I'm still that way to some extent. But I see. You can't hear me.
No, I was pointing at the comment. I was just pointing at the comment.
Aww.
Oh, and saying, can't wait to read your story. Sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt. That's why I was just doing an arrow.
So yes, I am actually always very excited, just so you know, for the co-authors to read each other's stories and what ends up happening after the fact, how they end up talking to each other on a completely different level. But yes, my experience working with Lisa in a professional sense, it was smooth sailing. And on a personal level, like I said, I think that I walked away with an even deeper sense of self-awareness. Just I feel that I was able to articulate things that I had not thought about, right? And that made me dig deeper.
And
Yeah.
I'm
Gave
just
me
so
that.
sorry. I'm so excited because I've watched you grow, right? And we've grown together. I look at you now as this you're like this hub. We think about that, over 100 different authors, all of those stories you've gone through, you've edited, and you are now, they're part of those stories become you as a publisher, do they not?
Yes.
I just love that. It's such a beautiful experience. Go ahead, Nick.
No, nothing. I just need to turn my volume up.
Oh, okay. Sorry, am I not talking? Do you want me to get all close and personal?
No, actually, I have one of those forced air heating systems, and it just kicked on.
Okay.
So I'm like, wait, what?
We got you. We got you. Lisa, okay, so I didn't get a chance to ask. And of course, there's such a rush going through, and I don't always have time to digitize everything into my mental Rolodex. Is this your first time writing?
It is.
And
It is.
how did you find that experience?
I think it was very cathartic. As I said, I feel this big calling to help people. And I do understand that a way of doing that is sharing your reality and being vulnerable, and you know, because that's where people relate on a human level, you know, and not the pretty stuff, not the polished and beautiful, the ugly and the dirty, and that's where people really connect, because everybody can relate to that. We all have our perfect moments, right? Everybody, every single person has has perfect moments.
Perfectly
You know,
imperfect is what I like to say.
perfectly imperfect, but for them, they're perfect, right? In that moment, it can be a perfect moment for the individual. But as you said, it's perfectly imperfect, so it's not relatable to others as much. The mess, the dirty, the ugly, the mistakes, and that all of that, the ugly crying, like that whole thing is like, that is so much more relatable, because it's where you're human. For me, that's where you're human. So the experience was like, I just wanted to get it out. It was in me to come out. So I think the other night on Nicole's show, it was somebody asked if we were nervous, and I was like, no, I wasn't nervous. I was like, let's go. I don't think I've thought about the fact that people might read this. Like,
And that was the part of the process that I was really going to start diving to with you. And I was like, oh, I didn't really phrase that the right way. But it was a great, again, it was ultra fantastic. And your candor is so appreciated. But the whole process, like that whole mentality, I should have asked is like, when you first got into this, when you were first asked to, write as an author, from beginning to end, did you realize that that was going to be it? Like, was it a fast kind of experience for you, or was it like, no, this seemed to really need a lot of time, a lot of effort to dive through so many different aspects?
it needed time, because like I said, I was just writing. I mean, I was just writing, and I had way too much. So so the time came from like, how do I get this into the bite-sized piece that is meant for this chapter? So that it was time consuming that way. It was eye-opening. It allowed me to see things that I hadn't, look, I've been in therapy for years, but family and all myself individually, family, all the things, right? We had a child who was struggling, so you need help and support getting through that. So I've done a lot of work over the years, but there were things that I wrote I had no idea I ever thought or felt. So there was very much like oh, and there's a whole list of things that I'm going to have to go back to now, right, and revisit and do some work on and figure out. So it was hard and it was easy. It was painful and it was joyful. It was overwhelming and it was um it was gratifying. Like, I mean, I had all the emotions in it, and I still do. But what I do know is that I've got, you know, there's more I want to tell. There's more I want to say. And so, like I said, though, quite honestly, was not nervous. Although, like I said, I didn't really like. Of course, I knew it was going in a book and people could read it, but I didn't really spend time there. And now that it's
It
done,
takes
and
it takes a while to kind of process that, right?
yeah,
And again, we'll be getting to some more people. Thank you, Lisa. I want to take a moment because again, we've got some other authors to get through, and I want to make sure everybody gets an equal time tonight to get up on stage here. Where can people find you? Where can people get a hold of you?
LinkedIn, obviously, Lisa Joyce. I'm on Instagram, Lisa Joyce Official. And I have a website. My website is lifethreadcoaching.com. So check me out.
Thank you so much. Again, really
Yeah,
appreciate your vulnerability and shares
thank you for
tonight.
having me.
You are a blessing, and I can't wait for people to read your chapter. I can't wait to read your chapter. We're going to drop you into the green room as we do our next transition here. All right. That's where things get exciting because now, all right, we've got all these authors coming together, first time experience, going through the motions. What is it like for you as a publisher, sis, to take on somebody new and start to kind of go, okay, like these are the things when you get to that first edit round, what are the things that you're looking for to really make sure you do this naturally without us asking, but you always look to really make us all shine in each one of our chapters. What hits you when you, as a publisher, when you're doing this? Like, how do you get there?
Well, I think I work in two parts. There is the publisher side of me, yes, that wants to make sure that I deliver something professional, and easy to absorb for the reader. I don't want any of those things to be a part of the process while they're reading, right? Because it's natural for anybody. Your eyes trail over something and you go, well, that's spelled wrong, or, wait, what? So there's that side. That side doesn't take much out of me at all. It's really working from a very non emotional way.
A neutral party.
Yeah. So I actually go through these stories twice. The first time as an edit, and the second time I'm a reader. And as just a reader, I stop and I think to myself, if this person were telling me this story and they never met me before, right? They just, I don't know, bounced me up somewhere, sitting in an airport, or I don't know, at a diner. And they started telling me this story. And in 7 minutes, I was going to walk away feeling the impact of that person's presence in this world. What would it take for that to happen? Right? So I think about it like that. But there's also that tie-in of acknowledging the writer's voice and being able to watch the way their story has developed from the beginning to the end, with their voice threaded through it, without segments breaking and not making sense, without it appearing as if the person is just in their head and saying the same thing over and over. So there's all those little nuances. But at the end of the day, if I see somebody write a paragraph on something that I'm like, oh, damn, and then it ends, I'm like, no, I want to know more. I need to know more. All right. So those are the little hangers that I ask people to expand upon, because I think it's natural to want to know more when certain things are shared. And sometimes people have, depending on their background, all right, they might also write in such a way that it's more, I will say, clinical, but this and that and this and then and
Textbook.
right. So right. And that type of writing is more like documenting. It's not really storytelling. So, there's a reason why we love stories, right? Why it is, certain nursery rhymes, for example, are still stuck in our heads at 49 years old, right? There's reasons why. And that is what I want you to put your claws into the reader's heart, and for them to be like, ooh, she just squeezed it.
I love that about you, and I wanted you to take. I wanted to take a moment again. The show is about showcasing everyone, and I wanted to showcase that this isn't just simply, like you said, this isn't just doing editing. This isn't just spelling. This is going through, putting flow, putting that story to somebody's story, and also, again, like I said earlier, them embracing their story that's actually going on to paper. So when we were talking a little bit about it, and of course she was technically our first guest in the green room, but however, she had her camera on mute. She is no stranger to you all, and I have had the great pleasure of working with her in the past on many a project. and you all know her so well that we can't delay you any further in suspense. Please welcome to the stage, Leslie Flowers. Well, hello, lovely lady. How are you doing this evening? You're on mute. You're talking to the mute. Oh, wait, no. I can't hear you, my lady. Hold on. She may have muted her other microphone. There you are. Oh, yay.
You can hear
See?
me. Yeah, I
With my
didn't know.
post-production team.
So I thought you would call me. I was here, but I just went off camera and I thought you would call me. So I apologize for interrupting your flow.
You did not interrupt any flow whatsoever. I'm trying to make
Okay,
sure
good.
that I go through my East Coasterners. The majority, I think, are East Coast for this evening. So I'm kind of trying to get through everybody because I know that it's getting later and it's getting closer to now almost 9 o'clock there. Sorry, 2 hours difference. So yeah, we're working at close to 9 o'clock. So
Right.
yeah, we want to get you on. So hi, how you doing? Please introduce yourself to everybody because not everybody knows you as well as I do, and tell us where you're from.
Well, I live in North Carolina, not too far from Raleigh, and been hanging around LinkedIn for a couple of years since COVID, when Facebook permanently kicked me off. So, which was a blessing in disguise. Ultimately, I think I wrote about that actually in the trilogy, right? Which was one of the anthologies you did last year. And what I do now is teach a couple of times a week, all about the mind and Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And I enjoy writing. I've got 13 with this book credits, but of course, most of them, thank you, are co-authors, contributors, and I love those as well. And several are in my own. So yeah, that's it. And I've been having a fun time helping Nick and this community, bringing books to the surface, and especially like this legacy personally, because I remember. Well, maybe you want to ask me a question, but I can just say that when I loved my grandmas growing up very much. But I was busy living my life, just like my grandkids are and my kids. And I wish now that I could go back and ask my grandmother's questions. So last year, the first thing I wanted to do was track everything I knew about my life, right? And so I figured that this year I would finish it up. But anyway, there's more to the story. So it's really a legacy. Last year I bought 8 books or 10 books, right? And I don't think anybody's read the chapter, but I don't care. Once I'm gone, they will.
Yes, they will.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're also gonna direct questions a little bit differently because I also know that you are coming up on Person Behind the Pen this upcoming Tuesday, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we don't want to go into what Sis might be asking you that evening and leaving her with no fantastic questions. We're going to steer things a little bit differently for you this time.
Okay.
So we're not going to be asking you what it was like writing for the second time. We're going to go into a little bit more of what do you tap into when you were doing your chapter this time? What was it like for you to go, because you do editing so much. What was it like for you to go through and do your editing when you completed your chapter?
It's a damn good question.
Yeah, I don't do a lot. I just run spell check and grammar check, and I maybe read it 3 times. Because as I write, it's in pretty good shape as I'm writing. So I don't go back and read it a lot. So that's why it was really great having Nick read it with me, because, ooh, did we find some things?
She's fantastic at that. I have a bad habit. Everybody knows I'm transparent. I have run-on sentences. I literally try to jam so much information.
Oh, I think I've got you beat. Don't
right?
I have him beat? Do I have him beat? Nicole. She was complaining about my run-on sentences. There was one that had 6 lines, right? And she said, this is terrible. I said, this is a run-on sentence.
Okay, so you did have me beat. I had 5. She messaged me back and she said, you literally have 5 sentences. Like that's a big paragraph. I'm like, yeah, you're
But when
absolutely
you-
right. Of course, that is a really big
I
paragraph.
say it nicely, okay? I do not yell at anyone, and I do not
No,
tell us to do anything. I'm just sharing that.
No, it
you're
was
very,
great.
but that's what I wanted to talk about was the fact that you're very sweet and kind when you're delivering the constructive criticism. And this is where I was going to ask Leslie next. When it comes to dealing with constructive criticism, all right, in fairness, you're a very well-established author at this point in time.
Mhm.
What is it like when you're working with a younger publisher when you are so well established? How was that experience for you?
That's a very good question.
There was no criticism. I don't think there was any criticism. We come into this open, right? Because Nick is looking for the greatness in me.
Yes,
I know that. So therefore, there is no judgment or criticism. It's suggestions, considerations, and questions. Right. So that's really how we work together. And the reverse is also true.
yes, it is.
Right. When you say that's fair.
Absolutely, and I enjoyed these questions from you very much because there is a certain degree of what as well of nervousness or apprehension on my part because in the reverse,
Mhm.
Leslie not only has done so much writing in on her own and in her own time, but she's also the 30 my goodness, I'm sorry. She's also the gold standard line editor for my company, right? So she doesn't line edit any of the anthologies. That's something very special to me where I started and will always be where I need to be. But she is for when I have, solo authors with more complicated manuscripts. So you have to understand there's a friction of nervousness in me as well going into editing work from anybody. And there's been a number of authors who have written multiple times over me, right? So it lends a very interesting dynamic. Just
Now, do you feel that so when I make suggestions to you, do you take it as criticism or the kind of the same way?
I don't think I take anything to me as criticism. I think everybody that's around me, personally and professionally, um, I know have my best interest at heart, and they want to see me succeed. They want to see me
That's
do
right.
well in life. I think that they also have come to know me as someone that um, I will ask you a question. If I feel like something you said could potentially make me feel um, judged or discriminated by, I will ask you because I know very well that communication is not an easy thing, right? Because you're communicating your story on paper, and I am helping you communicate that story to the reader. You communicate differently than I communicate. We have to now bind our styles of communication to produce the best delivered product.
Mm-hmm.
So I cannot afford in my position to feel that way. It is my job to make my writers feel comfortable with me. So if I cannot take something they say, I'm not going to say whether it's criticism or suggestion, or I'm not going to put a word. If I can't receive something said by another person, whether or not I know them, then I cannot be where I am right now in my position.
Mhm.
I have to be able to keep myself very wide open and to be able to feel everything that's coming at me. I mean, you know, with the number of people that have written with me now, I could probably sit on this show and you could probably ask me to tell you two things about every single person that has written with me, and I will tell you two things with
Mhm.
anecdotes and or descriptions. That does not come from saying, give me a chapter and handing it back. Mm-mm.
Right.
That is a much deeper connection beyond the story that is being shared. If I can't see you, how on earth am I going to understand where you are coming from and what it is you're trying to deliver? I can't.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Well said. Well said. Well, and so it's reciprocal, right, Aaron?
absolutely.
That you took the words right out of my mouth.
The
That's
two
exactly
of
what
you,
I wanted to hear. And the big reason that I was bringing this up was because I wanted to, that we're a show for breaking down the stigmas. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that are wanting to take this venture and maybe building it up too much in their mind, or they're in expectations of what they think the whole experience is going to be like. Well, all of a sudden, because no offense, sis, you're now established.
Mhm.
You've got multiple books under you. That can be a little bit intimidating for somebody that is a first time author, and that can really impact on
Mm.
how much they're going to share, because they're also at the same time maybe feeling, not everyone, but some people may be feeling like, oh, am I going to be judged for what she's going to be reading, and maybe holding back from their core. Which the one thing that I love about this is every book that I've ever done with you, everybody taps into that point. They never steer away from it. They all go to their core with something and it hits home. And so for you, Leslie, what
Yes.
struck home for you after you finished this chapter? When you finished this chapter, what was that feeling of, I don't know, if, almost of resolve, that completion of our world, of actually putting that memory to paper?
Well, it was a big whew. It was a big because I don't know. I won't say a lot about this because I know there are other authors, and I am fortunate to be on Tuesday night. But I really grappled with this because last year I really got into it, right? And when you're writing your story about yourself, like the gal who was right before me, she was fabulous. It's a process, and I was grappling with how to get back in that mindset. And honestly, it was just a casual conversation with Nick a week ago Tuesday. I knew I could write it. There was no problem. But I discovered that I needed to do a third part. So Nick and I were talking, and I had an epiphany. And so I wrote the chapter as a play. It is a live play that could be on stage. And the epiphany was, and the hint from the universe was, I wrote one when I was 17. And that idea from our conversation popped into my mind, and I said, that's it. And that Tuesday afternoon, I wrote 3,500 words. And then I spent a little time looking on AI to make sure I had it formatted like a real play. And when Nick and I worked at it, we would catch, is this present tense or past tense? And she'd say, I'm confused. Who is who? Right. And anyway, I guess that's probably enough to say that it was a big, whew, and it was done like in one afternoon. Kind of
Mhm.
like when we did the audiobook, how we
3,
put,
2, 1. No, take a sip of water.
right. Oh, yeah, thank you. But,
And you
but
see,
when I recorded for you, for Jack Torrance, right? I think it was it's Silent Canvas, the first one, and that took 8 hours, almost 9 hours. Well, Aaron, ours took when we
did
did
it in 6.5.
we did it in 6.5. I mean, that's like constant.
Yeah, I was
And
not easy on you. I was not easy
no,
on you.
he was a terrible producer, just terrible, cracking the whip. But the thing is that sometimes people split it into 2 different days, but I didn't know that I could generate the same energy if there was an interruption. So when I did Jack's, we went 8, almost 9 hours. Now, it wasn't with Aaron, it was with our local guy who's so great, Joe Woolworth. But anyway, so it's been wonderful. Now I'll get 8 or 10 more books this year, and I'll give them all to the family. And I already told them, I know you haven't read it, and it's okay. Just put it in a good place, because one day you're going to want to know, right? My history. When you get older and you ask yourself, well, why didn't I ask Nana that when she was here?
The questions that come around later on when you're not thinking about them because you're not in that mindset yet.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Leslie. All
You're
right.
welcome.
So before we let you go, where
Mhm.
can everybody find you? Where can everybody get a hold of you?
On LinkedIn.
And
Just-
YouTube.
Oh, yes, on YouTube. I still don't know how to work that.
We're gonna get on that. We'll get on
that. But just you'll find me here if you need to reach me. That's just find me. It's L Flowers at the end of the LinkedIn. You'll find me. My hair was different though. I've decided to go back to the 60s.
It looks lovely. I like the
You
nudity.
like it?
Yes,
You
it
know,
looks fantastic.
well, I mean, let me just tell you all. No, this is the real Leslie, and I've been faking with the curling iron. That's my
and
mask.
secrets revealed here on Soul Man Live.
That's right.
More news
So-
at 11.
It's going to be easier for me. All right. Well, I know you want to bring up the next person, so thank you guys so much. I've enjoyed this a lot.
Well, we're gonna let you go in just a moment. I wanted to just take a special moment because before we let you go back into the green room, before I get you escorted back there with our special escorts to make sure that you're safely carried back there.
Yeah.
We got to give you a special shout out because tonight's mental health break montage was a song that you wrote. So thank you for that. And when it comes time for mental health break montage time, we're going to bring everybody that's still here. We're going to bring everybody up on stage to enjoy the show. So we're going to let you go back and make sure that chef, make sure to give that chef, you tell him top notch.
I'm just looking for the guys with the fans, the pool boys. Okay.
They are already back there.
Okay,
So
good.
Friday, make it happen, please. Thank you. She's on. All right. Yeah. Thumbs up. Oh, there we go. Friday is getting a little carried away on me. All right. So let's get on to our next co-author. All right. Next on the list that showed up was, of course, Sharon Rose. And she has got the most delightful smile going on in the background. She's been nodding, and she is probably, I love her engagement and I love her heart. When we had the Zoom, she poured it out there, and I was blessed to even get a few messages from her, like, where do you begin? And we're going to talk a little bit about that once we bring her up on stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and people from all planets, shapes, and sizes, welcome to the stage, Sharon Rose. Hello, lovely lady. How are you doing this evening?
I am so great. Thank you so much for what a fabulous introduction. So I am Sharon Rose Winfield, for anyone who does not know me. And I am in a suburb near Phoenix, Arizona. It does get cold in the desert, especially after the sun goes down. So I'm learning. I've only been living out here since April. I've visited a bunch, but it's my new homestead for now. I have twin daughters that are back in Atlanta with their father and their other family. And they just turned 13. So they are my family because I'm an only child and both of my parents are now deceased. So if I didn't write this story, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. So Nicole, we got a lot more work to do. You got to tell your own story or someone else is going to. So I wanted to make sure they would be able to read it and understand it, and a couple of messages would come through. My mother had shared with them when they were 3 years old that I was adopted. And she said, I didn't grow your mother in my belly. They were 3. So at that time, they probably didn't really understand what that meant, but now they understand. They have each other. So unlike me, no siblings, they're twins. So that's important that they really understand how valuable that is and what a gift and a blessing that they have each other, a sister, but a twin sister. So
Yes, yes.
that. And I also wanted them to understand they moved schools recently, and they're both highly intelligent, but they're not pocket protector in the corner nerd kind of kids, right? So if they're interested, they're going to excel, but if they're not going to. So I wanted to tell a story from my perspective as a kid in first grade, well, pre-K to first grade, how I had to advocate for myself because I'm not there with them and I need them to do that for each other and themselves. So the story is really about, getting some messages to them through my story instead of just telling them, because teenagers don't really listen to their parents. Newsflash for any of you that don't know. So I'm like, well, maybe they'll hear or read the story and it'll come through that way. But I think it was the day we finished our read through, Nick, one of them FaceTimed me and told me that they had learned about a magnet school in their area and that they had asked their father to go do a visit. And so that was a lot of synchronicity there because they didn't know that I was writing this chapter. They didn't hear anything about it. Like Lisa said, it started in one place and then went completely in a different. I was trying to cram everything into one chapter. At first, I was like, this is a lot, 3,500 words. How am I going to fill this up? And then I had to start. And I was like, oh, no, this is a whole book or a series of chapters, because that's a lot easier to kind of frame it in little bits, like eat the elephant one bite at a time. Yeah.
That's why I appreciate your energy, Sharon, because you're an empath and you hit right. You knew exactly what my question was going to be, because I was like, all right, so what was it like? You've got 3,500 words put down in front of you, and here you are. So you just go ahead. Tell. You got this.
I take a lot of pride in anything that I do. My parents had instilled that in me. So I was adopted at 4 months old. So I was holding it down from 0 to 4 months on my own, right? And then I get first round draft pick. So you can drop me. I was lost in the ghettos of Moscow in 2006. And I just don't have enough sense to be afraid, because when you're a baby and you're on your own, that's next level. Like something happens to you. So I don't know. It was just, it was very interesting. So my parents raised me to like, do your best, forget the rest, and would put it back on me. Like, you knew if you did your best or not. They're not telling me anything except what your effort is and what you're capable of. So it kind of instills that self-mastery and self-accountability. Like everything is about self. Like you have to own your stuff. And so at 4, my mother would play bridge and my dad would take us out to Burger King because he liked that, and get us the crowns, and we'd play princess and king, and he'd say, life's about choices, choices have consequences. And not in a bad way, just think it through and look at what the outcomes can be and make the best choice for yourself and then own it. So for them to read these stories, I think it'll be helpful, and then I'll keep adding on, right? Because they've been through first grade, so they can already look back and relate. Now they're in 7th grade and they were in good schools before, and so they were challenged, but now they're not, and that's going to be a problem, especially for the one. And I'm not going to call them out, but she gets bored, she causes a little bit of trouble. So yeah,
We're Gen Xers though. #Gen X.
yeah. Yeah. And that was the other thing I wanted them to understand, because I think they were maybe 7. And I'm like, come on, keep up. Because they were just so slow and lethargic, and they didn't play outside. And I don't know, they they like athletics, but they're not hardcore about it, and they don't feel the need to be outside until the street lights come on, or all the things that the Gen Xers did. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like punishing me would make me stay inside and not move my body. So that'll be interesting to see how they read it, and it'll be nice so they can understand kind of it's more about my mother's family than my father's family, because just with the backstories, because we weren't really that close with my father's family, other than my grandfather lived with us, and spoiler alert, died in our bathtub. So I've had a lot of it was crazy. But that was the day that I kind of really made peace with the other side of the veil. And like, while his body was still in the tub, I could feel that his spirit had left. So then I just didn't understand why no one could drop me off to my gymnastics practice, because I had a big tryout for the meet on the weekend, and I was the youngest one that was going to do it, and I didn't get to go. So it was just an interesting experience, and the stories just came out, and I saved a lot of them because I took the time to write them. So I just chopped them out and put them in another file, and I'll probably start working on the next one now. So when Nick's like, hey, we're doing 2026, I'll be like, here you go.
She makes it infectious, does she not? Like, she does. You just like, oh yeah. And as you've heard already from a few of our authors, co-authors, is that literally, like, there is a plethora that we can put 3,500 words. Like, it is like an essay. That's university grade essay. Now, this is where we're going to bring baby sister into the play. So for you, Sharon, what was it like for you in the experience of having Nicole actually read your chapter back to you? How did it make you feel to hear somebody else reading your words from your heart?
It was invaluable, would be the word I'd use. And I was a little terrified because, well, A, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and B, I have an undergraduate degree in English. So I thought I was going to be a writer, right? And this was in the 90s, where you had to get a publisher and they want to take your voice away and change everything. And I was just like, and I didn't think she was going to be like that, but that was just leftover mental clutter in me. And I have 4 books written down, the names and everything, that I'm going to write these, I'm going to write these, I'm going to write these. And nothing's happened. And then here comes Nick, just write a chapter. Okay, I can do that in a day. Great. And so she was so gracious. And like she said, it's not really criticism. It's just like a dialogue back and forth. Like, well, this, I don't really understand this, or this doesn't really make sense, or could you say this a better way? Or how do you think the reader would, interpret this, or it would make them feel, or whatever. And so they were very thought-provoking, mindful questions that like elevated the prose and the story. And I never felt like she was trying to take my voice away, which was so important to me. So anybody that's looking to write with Nick, just know that your voice will stay intact. She'll help amplify your voice, if anything.
Well said. Mic drop. Boom. There we go. All right, so we're going to equal out the stage here so that we can see baby sister a little bit better as well. All right, so Nicole, what was it like when what kind of reactions did you feel when you finished reading the chapter to Sharon? Like, what is it like to see that kind of epiphany moment? Like, oh yeah, no, we should do that. We should do that. What's it like for you to just get people on tune and on board for making their chapters that much more intense or better?
So let's start with the fact that I sent Sharon Rose a message because I was going through her chapter, and at one point I stopped and I said, you know what, I think I need to meet with her, before doing more, if you will. I could already tell that there was a level of writing that portrayed somebody that gets writing. So, I like in the case of Leslie, felt a bit nervous to edit her chapter. Um, what I especially loved about Sharon Rose's chapter is there is an injection of humor, and I love humor in reading. When you write something like your legacy, depending on what uh, portion or what's the strongest voice or emotions you want to put out in it, you very rarely read a chapter about legacy that doesn't involve some sort of um, not sad, melancholy emotion, right? I mean, because this is a time in our lives where we know that life is going to end at some point. So she kept her chapter light without missing the meaning behind the deep parts. And I think because she did that and because she injected a sense of humor, it it better spotlighted the contrast in some of the things that she was sharing. So I was laughing throughout this chapter, like little giggles and like I kept thinking to myself, God damn, this woman is witty. Because she is. She's very witty. Um, and I think, even though I touched on a couple of little things, you know, with her as being in the audience of live shows and such, I really came to understand a side of her that is very connected with things not tangible. And that's not a realm that I explore to that extent, right? So again, I had myself had one of those opportunities where I'm like, okay, something new for me. So, yeah, you see, and I have said this before, as the publisher, it doesn't make you the expert. I have experience and I have um,
You're
gotten a lot.
continuing to evolve.
Yes. And so I have the experience. I'm not an expert. And it's meeting writers of all levels, right? That pushes me to keep learning and growing, right? So when I think that this is Sharon Rose's first time publishing, am I right?
Mhm.
Okay, and Lisa's, and Leslie's chapter is just before Lisa's. All right. So I don't put my books together in such a way that all the new writers in the front and it's not like that. The chapters just go. So you might get one really seasoned writer next to somebody that's never published before because it doesn't matter. The point is you've gone through this process where your story is what it needs to be at this time. And that in itself is the honor and the value. So um, it was a very good experience working with Sharon. She's very strong in her opinions. She knows what she wants, right? And so
She's an
sometimes,
energy projector. You like sitting here on screen with her, and even during the Zooms, all right, she's projecting that energy, right?
yes, correct. She is. She absolutely is. So I'm thrilled that she said yes to the opportunity that, like for herself and for Lisa, who mentioned she wrote 100,000 words, keep those. You know, you don't know when in the future, whether you publish it or not, that you may pick those back up again and come full circle, right? Even if you are not publishing it. So it just warms my heart because these are the things that I want for the company. And I say the company, but I am the company. So, if what I'm getting up and doing every day isn't filling my cup, then I wouldn't be doing this, right? I have choices. So, it's in these moments like this that I'm just grateful, like beyond grateful.
And we're as equally grateful for you for bringing us all together for this opportunity. I am going to do a quick moment here for my special guests that are sitting in the green room. All right. What I'm going to do is we're gonna pause for some time. If you need to go for a full force pee break, all right, you need to just give me a wave in because you've been sitting there for about 40 minutes now. All right. I want to make sure that you are well relaxed when you come on screen. So if anybody needs to go to the bathroom, just wave your hand at me right now because we get our last two authors coming up. But before we let Sharon Rose go, of course, where can people find you? Where can people get a hold of you?
I'm pretty antisocial, so just on LinkedIn.
Perfect. There's nothing wrong with that, and no judgment here. I used to be only on LinkedIn too, so you're good. You got family
I
there.
was a lot of other places, and then I just dialed it back. I also quit the news in 2007. I mind my mental diet. Absolutely. Yeah.
I haven't watched a lick of news in about 5 years. I only get reports from my friends now, so I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Same.
And honestly, for me, it was after it was after 9/11 when we all lived on those TVs. That was a time that we all lived on those TVs, so I can totally relate to that. So we're going to let you go off, my fellow Gen Xer and empath. Have yourself a glorious evening and enjoy the VIP room and the green room while we wrap up the last part of the show and show you all the nice new mental health break montage that we've put together for you all that could attend for this evening. All right, so we're going to let you, everybody, please, yes, escort her to the VIP room. There we go. Excellent. Everybody's all nice and cozy back there, and hopefully the bartender, it's open bar back there. So make yourselves all the mineral spirits and good stuff you can have in the back.
Bro.
What?
You gotta pause for a second.
Stretch and grow moment. Yes. This gives me a flashback of Brian Schulman's mid-show stretch break.
I apologize. I sit on a backless stool.
Yeah. Well, you know how we roll around here. We could. I know Kenneth Dunner at one point was like, Aaron, you should twerk. And I was like, okay, there you go. I'm twerking. I just did a twerk. Right?
I gotta be. I am like, you know what? As it is, I'm a ants in your pants kind of girl. So I totally gotta, like, just shift positions a little bit.
You're good. And of course, again, I've had everybody sitting there. That's why I had to take a moment to say, hey, just if you need to go, I know I keep everybody. It is a longer show tonight, but we've got a lot more authors here to talk with and make sure that they get equal time up on screen. Yeah. Speaking of which segues into our next individual or co-author up to plate to bat for the Legacy Chronicles. Now, this individual I actually happened to cross paths with. Literally also happened to discover that she is literally a schoolmate from 40 years ago. And when I met her, we had this little conversation, and I was like, I don't know, like this is so strange. This is so weird that the world would put us into our paths with one another again. I don't know what it is, but we'll figure it out. And then, of course, Legacy Chronicles came along, and I was like, oh my God, this is that moment. You need to do this. This is for you. You need that win under your belt. You've worked hard enough for it. And guess what? It's time to make it happen and make dreams reality. And so without further delay or ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody at home, you might remember this fantastic soul from one of our earlier episodes this season. Welcome to the stage, Patricia Leader.
Hello.
Hello, my lady. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing
Did you hear me?
Sorry, I just got a comment from William there. And I was just my extra producer eye that pokes out of the way. I was like, oh, look, comments are rolling. You better make sure everybody's seen. So, right? Patricia.
Yes, Aaron.
Oh my goodness. All right, sorry. It's a little dusty in here. I've got some more dusting. I was dusting earlier. I was like, oh my God, my studio with all the electronics, like it attracts more dust. And I was like, oh, this isn't good while I'm doing live. So let's clean it up a bit. Hashtag squirrel moment. My dear, also fellow Gen Xer.
Yes.
From school to now, what first hit you when this opportunity to write with Nicole came into play? What hit you first? And you can be as
Well,
deadly honest as you were with me when I told you about it.
when you first mentioned it to me, I was like, yeah, okay. I didn't take it seriously at first,
Thought
I'll
it was
be totally
bullshit, didn't you?
honest. Right? I did. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And it's been an amazing experience. It was an emotional experience on the phone that I had with Nicole, listening to her tell my story that I wrote. And this is my first time ever writing. I haven't written anything other than my own journaling for my own personal since school. So this was a whole new experience. And a lovely experience, I will honestly say. She gave me so much insight, so much feedback. And she also compared me to you at one point, saying that I wrote like you. I ran off in the sentences. And
Gen Xers
I didn't know
go,
if that's because we went to school together and the way we were taught.
maybe it was a Muskoka thing.
Right? Exactly. But
It was in the
it
water.
was a right
It did cross my mind if
experience.
the American way of teaching and the Canadian way of teaching was different, because the way you guys both wrote, there's a certain style that's a little bit different. And the thing is, like, I may not have picked it up as much with Aaron when he wrote in other books, because his was the only one. But because I
Mhm.
read yours and I was like, oh, there's a lot of similarities here.
Hashtag family, yo.
Right?
Right?
So, Patricia, for you, when it came to this, is something I really, when we talked about it, I wanted everybody in kind of the multiverse out there in the world to know, when it came to telling the story, it took you a long time to get to telling the story. 10,
Yeah,
10
it did.
years?
10 years. It's 10 years in 2025. So my chapter basically starts at age 39 and I'm now 49. So, but yeah, my voice was silenced for a long time, and to have that opportunity to actually write in a book my story that a lot of people weren't aware of half of the stuff that I went through in that 10 years. And it's, I think, a story that there's parts in it, especially because I do talk about over the last 10 years and the challenges that I've had. I think there's parts in it that people can relate to, and just the mindset and ultimately the growth of learning from those experiences. And yeah, it was a great opportunity to be able to, finally speak, in what better way but in a book.
And I
So
mean, your message is now, as Nicole said, like, this is in so many words and in so many fashions, it's immortalized. You've been immortalized on words now that your kids are going to be able to go back and say, hey, you know what did my
yeah.
mom do to get through those moments?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And yeah, and it was at one point when Nicole was editing with me, and she's reading and I'm listening to her, and her voice cracked at one point, and she apologized and said, "No, I'm okay too." I literally was I felt everything that she was saying, and I started to tear up on listening to her read it. And when you're writing it, and I think I've told you that, Aaron, when you're in those moments and you're dealing with those challenges that life has thrown at you, at the moment you are in survival mode. So you aren't really, you're going just through the process day by day. But to go back and revisit that after you've done the healing and the growth and the life lessons of learning from them, it's a whole different mindset, because it's like, wow, like, so to see that in yourself as well. So it's just a whole different experience that I've never had. So it was rewarding in a lot of ways. So, but also draining. I won't lie, it was draining because you're revisiting and you're now healed, and to see it in a different lens, it's yeah, it's pretty amazing. And she pointed out a lot of things in it that she wanted me to, dive in. Like I wanted the criticism. You gave me some great advice. She gave me some great advice because I am a first time writer. So I've never written my story for others to know. And I was vulnerable in a lot of my chapter because like you said, I hadn't shared a lot of this stuff. So I had shared my rough draft with one of the very few family members that I'm still in contact with, and she broke down. She just kept apologizing and saying, "I had no idea that you went through half of this stuff, and I feel so guilty." And I said, "But that's not the story. I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to see what I overcame, and I didn't stay as a victim. I took that power back and I alchemized it. And I want my children to see that no matter what life throws at you, you have choices. You have the power to overcome these obstacles, and it will make you stronger, but it's also a lot more wisdom behind it. And it's a depth that you evolve from. And that's the only way I can describe it. So yeah.
Well,
Uh,
well said. It was really cool because I don't normally have an opportunity to know one of the co-authors before they come on board.
right?
And so what, of course, me working with Nicole over the years, my goal was, again, don't want to steal from the experience that Nicole gives, but at the same time, kind of give you that support as a first time author to go, okay, like where can and can't I go with this? And kind of
Mhm.
knowing those soft and hard boundaries that you can work with. Now, Nicole obviously brings that into play later on, but it was really great for us to kind of like, and the whole goal was to help reduce her time when it came to editing. Of course, I don't think we really did anything to help reduce her time in editing, but the beautiful part is that she takes these portraits and she literally creates one giant portrait with us all.
Mhm.
And so, Nicole, when it came to learning Patricia's story and learning that you were at the same time as a publisher, you're giving somebody a voice. It's not just being immortalized, you're giving them the ability to speak something that has been held within for so long, and in so many fashions can be quite healing. What kind of vibe did you get after reading her chapter and realizing what was going on here?
You know what? I often think, because I do anthologies, right? I and people have to write their story. I feel a lot of times with a first time writer, it's the first time that they're getting to tell their entire story from start to finish. Now, when I say that, obviously in 3,500 words, how? But it's all the high points, right? It's all the points that so impacted your journey that they're uppermost in your mind and engraved on your heart. So, you would tell little parts of your story here and there in different venues in front of different people. But when you can see it from start to finish, you get a feel for the person's that time period. And in her case, it was a 10-year time period, right? So her story shocked me, shook me, and made me think about the fact that I was a single mother of one, right? And she's a single mother of three. So the financial burdens, the emotional struggles, the mental fortitude that it takes to pass through these things for yourself is one thing, but you are putting these children through the experience as well. So you have three whole other personalities that you are shaping through your actions. And so that her entire story resonated a lot with me. It brought back a lot in my mind of things that I have experienced that I have not quite opened up about, not for the sake of hiding, but again, until you start to, you have this opportunity, right? You can just start writing and writing and writing and writing, and everything's important at that point, everything, because you're putting it all down, you're pouring it all out. So I look at the writing part as a release. I look at the publishing part as letting go of it. And so it was, we spent some intense time together, some intense hours together. And she was exhausted. She had worked. And I get it, because the last few days of my life have been, brother, almost lost him here working on the book formatting, and thank God for Leslie. But when you are at a certain level of depletion, because you've also worked all day, somehow she was still able to articulate her feelings. So if I said, Patricia, I think that you can twist this a little more and express what you're trying to say better. She was very receptive to suggestions, but I want to say half of the time when she explained to me, I understood why she wrote it that way. So we had to meet in the middle and marry that. You have to expect the reader does not know your story, so they do not know what you're trying to convey. But we're going to keep your words, we're just going to flip them. So, it was a whole experience, because 7 of the writers in this book are writing for the first time. Right? So for me, this was a very different experience.
This one included.
Yes, yes. So, yeah, that's what I have to share about it. And I'm really thrilled for the book to come out and for everybody to hold it. And not to say that you, Leslie, and I, come on, we're like, a little family. But the other 7 co-authors who now fall under the family, the umbrella of Guiding Brilliant Writers, I cannot wait for them to hold their book in their hands and to crack that spine and be like, the fracture in the mirror. Was it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's funny you brought that up, because I literally told Patricia the same thing, as like, it is going to be one experience. Like, you're going to go through this process. You're going to go through this. You're going to think at the moment, in the times of going through all of this is never going to end. But at the same time, and that's why I was asking the other authors earlier, was, what was your experience writing? 3,500 words is not an easy feat if you don't know where you're picking up or dialing from. So to go through and go, okay, yeah, these are the kind of areas that you want to hit. These are the things you want to do. And then again, of course, Nicole bringing everything together in this huge portrait at the end. Oh, always appreciate you, my friend, and always thank you for coming on to share.
You.
I'm trying to keep everybody to about 10 minutes, and we've got
absolutely
one last co-author to bring up on stage, and then we can finally air the mental health break montage, which all of you this evening will be getting. All of our co-authors will be getting a copy of the mental health break montage from this evening, because it is something to commemorate this moment. And of course, I'm keeping baby sister up here really late tonight. She's getting very close to bedtime, and I know that we've only got a little bit of space and time left. So without further delay, big burly hugs, Patricia. I will chat at you very soon. See you in the DMs. Hang out in the VIP room, my lady. All
Thank-
right. Yes, we got to get you to bed. I got to
Close to
take
my
care of you as a
bedtime,
big
like an
brother.
hour past my bedtime, and I do want to apologize to Patricia and the audience. I know I was looking down. I tend to not go on my phone when I'm doing these shows. I had to text my husband and tell him, "Come here and give me more drinks."
Oh, yeah. We're gonna get you. We're almost wrapped up,
It's okay.
and of course,
So fire. So I keep
yes, we've got one last fantastic soul to come on here, and she is quite the
sweet.
spitfire. And it's been a delight and getting to know her throughout this whole authoring progress. Without further delay or ado, everyone, please welcome to the stage, Lauren. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm good. I'm good. How's everybody?
Doing fantastic. Look at that big
Good.
smile.
Hi. I'm patient. I have
Oh,
learned a
you
lot of
you
patience.
are you are so patient, and that was the first thing I wanted to say is thank you. Unfortunately, with the way that everybody showed up, I just go in order as how everybody showed up on screen, and you are unfortunately the lot. And you know what's funny is that I seen you on at like literally 4 o'clock my time, which was I was like, oh, just hang out there, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. And then all of a sudden you
So
were
I
off.
am not, I am so not computer savvy. So I
It's
was
okay.
trying to figure out, what was going to work, what's not going to work. And so I timed in and got out, got back in, got out. I was like, okay, I just need to stop it. So I had to step away and kind of like rest my nerves a little bit. So I'm good.
Well, it is great to see you again, and congratulations, of course, congratulations to all our co-authors for being finally
Thank
wrapped
you.
up, and of course, Nick
Thank you.
finally
It's an honor.
getting her publishing stuff done, and we will hear final word from her later on throughout the days to follow on when that's finally going to be released. So we're all very excited in the fact that you're finally here. So Lauren, and not everybody knows you as well as we do. Please tell everybody where you're from and a little bit about you.
I live in San Diego, and I apologize. I had the heater on. It is so cold. People think that San Diego does not get cold. It gets cold. So I turned the heater on while you guys were all going through the program. And then I got overheated. So my face is like beet red. I've been in San Diego for 22 years now. I just hit 22 years. I love it here. It's home. Um, I'm originally from England, and I've been in California pretty much all my life, but I love the cold weather. So um, let's see. I don't know. Uh, I'm on LinkedIn. I post pretty much every day. I'm very open. I talk a lot about personal. I don't get into business too much, but I do love my job. I have a great job. I have great coworkers, and this experience has been amazing, amazing, emotional, very emotional. And I will say that I wrote it in one day and I walked away. I wrote it in one day, walked away. And then a week later, I was on my way to work in traffic, which I am every day. And I had this oh shit moment like, oh my God, everyone's going to read my story. And whoever everyone is, it could be one person, it could be a million people. And I thought, what the hell did I just get myself into? And I thought, I need to call Nick. And so I had to kind of like literally mentally pump the brakes, right? So I went through, but I'm one of those people that I literally, once I make a decision, I'm on it. I don't change my mind. I stick to it. And this is a story. I wrote it and it's done. And I wasn't going to, once I put it down, I put pen to paper or fingers to my laptop. I said, it needed to be done. And it was liberating, emotional, um, very emotional. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. And here I am with you, beautiful people.
And I'm so excited for you. I know that William asked you earlier. He was, were you hesitant in the process?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Nick reached out to me and she asked, and I said, I let me think about it, right? So because all of my life, I have one hell of a life, and you really can't put your whole life in 3,500 words, right? It's hard to do. Everyone has a story. But with that being said, I I was definitely hesitant, and I said, you know what? My kids are grown. I am, I have a lot of time on my hands, and I have a story. And I have had a lot of people say to me, um, you should write a book. And I joke, how you joke and you go through life and you say, you know what? I should write a story. I should write a book. I could write a book. I could write a book. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. What do I have to lose? The funny part is that I have told my family that I have participated in this, and they are completely oblivious. My dad is completely like, he's oblivious to, what's going on. He has not once said, well, am I going to get to read it? Do I get to read it? Nothing. And my daughter and I have had discussions, and I asked her, I said, do you want to read my chapter? And she said yes. And I said, it's going to make you cry. And that was the last thing. We have had absolute crickets. So I will read it to her or when she's ready, because there's things about, their father in the book. And so, yeah, it was a tough write, but I wrote it and walked away. And it, let it be written, right?
See, we're all, you know what, honestly, tonight, I think we're all kind of just in tune. And that's kind of been what's been happening with this group
Yeah.
of co-authors that have come together this time. Because
Yeah.
the one thing that I wanted to share with you, Lauren, is the first time watching my son, Dylan, literally read my chapter. And I had the same question, was like, do I read it to him or do I just let him read it and watch the reactions as he's reading it? And
Yeah.
I ended up opting. I was like, you know what? I'm going to say, here's my chapter. And this is what I did. I literally said, here's my chapter. Read through it. If you have any questions, we can talk about it right after.
Mm-hmm.
And then watching his face just kind of process what Dad was going through in my the first legacy book, A Note to My Family. That was big.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah, there's something that each of the ladies have said that, that just resonated with me, with Lisa and Leslie and Sharon. I mean, every, little things, little words that they said, little, pieces of their experiences, even though the experiences are different, right? We all have different experiences, but those emotions are the same. Being a single mother, I was a single mom. I've been married, I've been divorced, I've experienced loss, and a whole plethora of other things in between. And like I said, it's difficult to put your whole life into 3,500 words. I don't necessarily know if I would. I thought about writing more, because, once you start writing, you feel like you can just keep writing and keep writing. And I have some funny parts too. And I thought, that was one of the things when Sharon, because she absolutely has such an electric personality, right? She's just so like captivating when she's talking. But it's funny because I'm a big shit talker. A lot of people, I base a lot of how I feel on my faith, but I like to joke. I am a big kid. I like to joke. And so I thought, okay, maybe I should write about the funny things that I do and say because I am a big kid. But I thought, okay, there is a time in my life I really need to be a grown up, which in a lot of my posts, I say, I don't like being a grown up. This grown up stuff, it sucks, because we have to be responsible. But I'm not sure if I will write anymore. I prefer to write poetry. I like when people send me pictures and then I can express myself through poetry. So.
Well, and you know what? You know what? I know of a lot of other co-authors that I've written with. One of my dear friends, Jennifer Pemple. She did her one chapter, and then she was kind of like, you know what? I think I'm just going to leave this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So the good news is that you never really have to ever put it out of your perspective, but you come back when you're ready for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If maybe this was just that one moment that your world wanted and needed to I don't know, reach something within you that just finally got a chance to speak. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, sorry, go ahead. You were about to say something.
I was just going to say that, I spent a lot of time away from my kids, and it wasn't by choice. Their father and I had a very unique love relationship. He was wonderful. And the choices we made together. And so the message is there for them because, I'm very close to them now as adults, and I need them to. There is a message in the chapter to them, and I want them to see the resilience that in the places in my life that I was able to overcome. Because if I have learned anything about myself, I am a strong woman. And you can say and do whatever you want, right? You can say and do, there's not a whole lot that people say and do that phases me. Um, I I received some pretty hard news today. It shook me a little bit, and I'll share that later. But, it's things like that that shake you, but when the outside world tries to come, and they knock, when you go through a lot in your life and you bounce back from that, you know, you just become resilient. I get up every day, I put my suit of armor on and I keep it moving. And that's how I've been able to survive. And I want my children, especially my daughter, she is complete opposite of me. So we're developing her, and I'm trying to. She is strong now, but she was not like that. So we're working on her.
We
Getting
grow.
her
We
there.
grow, right? So
Yes.
Nick, before we bring everybody on, because we're almost to that time. So there's just one thing that Lauren brought up that I really wanted to hit on with you as the publisher. Again, put you in the hot seat as I always like to do. There's a whole new level that you didn't disclose to us earlier, beyond the making sure that the spelling is good and grammar is good and making sure that we have flow. There's a certain element of embracing us when we are going through our traumatic moments, when we're writing about these moments. How is that for you because I've messaged you before, like, oh my God, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Like, I think my first chapter, I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Like, this just doesn't work. It's not jiving, and the anxiety hits. And I know, Lauren, you were feeling that kind of at the beginning of the first Zoom, you were like,
Mm-hmm.
it gets overwhelming. So what is it
Mm-hmm.
like as the publisher when we come to you as authors with this anxiety? Like, how are you managing that? How are you delegating us as cats is probably the best way to put it, or as Leslie puts it.
I think one of the things that is helpful to people who have not written before and are considering writing with me, that have gotten an opportunity to know me a little bit through my social media. They see somebody that's very raw. I'll share all the parts of myself. Um, and I think that in itself gives people a level of comfort to know that, well, I'm not stepping into a space with someone that only shows up a certain way. And so I need to show up that way too. People tend to ask a lot what my expectations are. There's a lot of nervousness about, when it's sent in. Did I just, I don't want to disappoint you. Um, I'm not sure this story is good enough and things like that, right? Just to remember that I once was that person who was submitting a chapter for the first time 11 books ago, 12 books ago,
Wow.
right? Um, and in 2 years. So that's a lot quickly. And because I so loved writing, I had to constantly challenge myself to break my shell a second time and a third time and a fourth time. So while the writing might be natural for me, trusting yourself to open up in such a way that you can truthfully state how you feel, even if it means you're effing pissed off, right? It means that I understand how people feel when they are trying to break through that first shell. They're not even sure they want to come out of it because they're comfortable in it. I do not push people, and I do not think that that is the way it should be done. If somebody signs on to write a chapter, and this hasn't happened yet, but if throughout the process you say, you know what, I am not ready for this, then that's okay. You're not ready for it. There will be other books and there will be other opportunities. And maybe you'll be ready for it then. And if you're never ready for it, that's okay. You learned a little bit of something along the way of a process. And you know what? Maybe you discovered something about yourself. This is just not the outlet for you to express. I hope what happens though is that in the time spent with me, the person realizes that they're working with someone who sees them and their story for the value that it is, because each of our lives is worth something to the people who love us, to the people who surround us. If I can't, as the publisher, see 110% value in your chapter, how am I going to convince other people to buy the book? And I do need to compel people to buy the book. The most hurtful thing as a publisher is to have seen the amount of everything that is poured into these chapters by the writer, and then have the book, passed over like, I don't know, like another leaflet blowing in the wind. So when I started this journey of publishing, I used to have my book for 99 cents, sorry, on launch day. I've since changed that, and it's only been a couple of years. So it's a vast change when you think that I only started the business officially this year. That those books will no longer sell for 99 cents. They never will again. What has been poured into these stories by the writers is too damn valuable.
Mm.
And they know what that is worth. I know what that is worth. And I would rather they kept it at their bedside, and the people that want to pick it up and read it will read it. Because if you really want to read this, it's not going to trouble you to spend what's being asked for the book. It's $4.99 for the ebook. That's it. It's $14.99 for the legacy book. I have challenged myself to say, I know what it was like to write with other publishers, and the books did well. They said it did well. We did well in rankings, and none of those royalties were shared. And I have made it my business to share the first 30 days of royalties, which is when most of the sales occur, with them. You know, it's not so much about this, because you don't make a lot on a book. It is a second reinforcement to the writers that their story is valuable.
And that's a great segue. That's a great segue into celebrating them in the other way that we know how, right? Celebrating their journeys, not only on literature, but as we can see scrolling across the bottom here, because you know that Big Brother likes to segue into, like, that's a great opportunity to just show everybody their mental health break montage that well, technically it was coordinated by Nick. The lyrics were written by Leslie, and I just simply produced the video. So let's get everybody up on stage here. Hello, Leslie.
Such a
Hello.
big present for all of you. I have to say, without Leslie and Aaron, I don't know how it would have been pulled off, and I am incredibly. I feel like I am getting the opportunity to be the one that got the gift that they created, and I get to wrap it and give it to you, even though they created the gift. So please, thank you to Leslie and Aaron.
Well, and just so everybody knows, I'm just going to get everybody on their microphones to just mute while we do this. All right. But this is also, we appreciate you, Nick. And thank you for, yes, I'm hiding behind my logo right now. Hold on. We'll change that. Hi, I'm back. I just want to take a moment to say thank you for allowing us to get this moment. It's a bucket list item, and it is so much more than words on page. It's life-changing. And I thank you for the third opportunity to write and share this moment with so many. Wait, we're missing one here on screen. There she is. I was like, wait a minute. We're not missing out on Lauren. There's something wrong with my screen here. There is something wrong with your screen right now. We're missing a co-author. Everyone, please welcome to your mental health break montage the legacy title shot book type thing, which I really haven't figured out what I'm going to call it yet, but we're just calling it a book trailer. How about that?
Love it within you. Your voice etched in word upon the page. Let us all gather in this harmonious moment. A link of insight learned from life's stage. The voices of the past whispered through the dust and flame, carried joy and sorrow in stories without name. How did we not hear them? How did we not see the echoes in our laughter, the grief beneath the tree? In my heart I yearn to leave something behind, legacy in the spirits I care for, a journey in scripture resisting time. One day we will all speak as the voice of what has been, for the children who will wonder where the soul of time has been. No need to rewrite pages, no way to shift the tide, but we can shape the silence with the truth we hold inside. In my heart I yearn in our future voice. Let the ink be brave and kind, for those now walking forward, leaving shadowed years behind. With memories like lanterns and hearts that still recall the long ago becoming the meaning of it all. In my heart I yearn to leave something behind, legacy in the spirits I care for, a journey in scripture resisting time. Born for this, born to write, born to speak up, born to fight, born to dream in the dead of night.
That was lovely. Thank you so much for what you and Leslie created together. Beautiful words, just beautiful. And it means so much to me personally to see all of you up there and the other co-authors that couldn't join us. It's a celebration of your life, a celebration of those that gave you life, the ancestors, and the ancestors that you and I will one day become. Thank you.
And thank all of you for being with me tonight to celebrate this monumentous moment. Oh my God. Okay, just a little bit excited. All right. Thank you, all of you, for sharing with us this evening and being here. And thank you to everyone out in the comments that are still out in the comments. Oh my God. We are literally, do you want the final tally here for length of time of show? All right, 2 hours, 34 minutes. We have literally been broadcasting. So thank you for your patience for getting through this evening, my dear friends. And thank you for sharing your stories. And thank you for just being you, authentic, real, genuine people putting your hearts on the words on page.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, without further delay or ado, we are going to send everybody back to the green room. All except for one, because we got to just say thank you one last time, because she's literally been with me and completing 2 seasons as her executive remote producer. I can tell you, she has now completed 2 seasons of Nick Never in Control, the live show, and now has spawned a person behind the pen every Tuesday. And who knows where girl, I can't keep up with you with all the posts you are doing these days. Just stay on fire. Keep being my sister and keep being the fantastic golden heart that you are. Thank you for contributing everything you do out into our communities and loving this old burly hug. All right.
Kidding me, right?
Before you go,
yes,
just tell Marcos I love him too. I missed that night. Everybody needs to throw in the comments right now. If you are still out there, Marcos to be knighted. This man needs to be knighted, honestly. All right, sis, we're going to send you off in the green room. And if you need to get going, because I know literally I've had you here for 2.5 hours, you do you, okay? I will say goodbye to everybody if I need to. All right? Big burly hug, sis. Wow. All right. Well, there you go. And there's proof for Bill out there in the audience that, yes, you can stream for up to 4 hours on StreamYard. Yeah, you can if you want to. However, if you are going to stream for that long, know that there is full force pre-breaks. Blah, blah, blah. See what happens when I haven't gotten enough water during a show. Full force pre-breaks are a real thing, and you need to take them when you're taking these long lives and doing what we call a round robin. Oh, wow. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for your love and support. Thank you for supporting our co-authors. Thank you for supporting my baby sister, Nicole, and Guy Galindo. Please, as I as I choke on some more dust that's floating around in my basement. Well, this is, you can't see it. There's filters on. There's filters. All right. I'm trying. I'm going to get through it. Just thank you for being you. Thank you for being here for the second last episode of Soul Man Live Season 3. Wow. Please, please, please hang around for after that outro. I might have some extra special news and some other things that are coming down the line. So without further delay or ado, sweet Mary Mother of Pearl Friday. What? I need water. All right. Without further delay or ado, we're going to roll the outro. But I learned my lesson this time, because you notice the last times I've been trying to roll the outro, everything messes up. I'm going to teach everybody a little thing right now, is that when you play a mental health break montage, all right, so if you played a video and you're on StreamYard, what's really important to make sure that you don't have the botch that I've been having while I try to play my outro is that you actually remove that video from the studio. So that the next time that you add to stage, rather than it kind of trying to go in behind the current video that you were playing, you're completely kiboshing it off of your screen, and you can play this.
Soul Man, shining bright, lighting up the darkest night, helping those in silent fight, sending hugs big and tight. Shine your light, oh so bright, spread love, make it right. Soul Man, you ignite, open every heart, take flight. Spotlight on the broken soul, making wounded spirits whole, embracing all, making them whole. Your kindness, a shining gold. Shine your light, oh so bright, spread love, make it right. Soul Man, you ignite, open every heart, take flight. Let your love be the guide, in you all fear subside. Together we'll stand with pride, your warmth a healing tide. Shine your light, oh so bright, spread love, make it right. Soul Man, you ignite, open every heart, take flight. Let your love be the guide, in you all fears subside. Together we'll stand with pride, your warmth a healing tide. Shine your light, oh so bright, spread love, make it right. Soul Man, you ignite, open every heart, take flight.
Okay, yes, you know that I was coming back, and there's just a little bit more left to tell you. Tomorrow morning, Coffee Chats with Melissa Houston returns. Sunday, November 23rd, I will be joining forces with Bill Rochelle, UBU Live and Soul Man Live, coming together for a collaboration evening of fire. Go out there, have yourselves a beautiful weekend. And for those of you out there that are currently silently struggling, please know that within Canada and the US, you can reach out to 988. And if you are within the UK, you can reach out to 999. Know you are strong, know you are powerful, and know you are worthy. Take care of one another out there. Big burly hugs, y'all.